Hello everyone, this is Woodworking Life number 100. I'm Paul Lemiski. We got a big one here for you. We took a couple days off. We spent some extra time filming how to build this three-legged guitar pick stool. Really hope you enjoyed this vlog. We put a lot of work into it. Make sure you watch to the end because we have a super special announcement. Enjoy the video. So this is super exciting. For this vlog, we're gonna be here in the shop working on the guitar pick stool, all out of solid black walnut, beautiful stuff. We've got our seat blank glued up. We have blanks also glued up for the legs. So all the grunt work has been done. Let's get on with the fabrication. You can see my actual seat size. My seat, oh, I got a splinter. God damn it. My actual seat shape is nice and round around the corners. Now we're gonna cut a Maloof joint in these corners. 1, 2, 3 Maloof joints. We need a nice flat side to be registered. So if you look at our blank right now, you can see we have 1, 2, 3 flat slides. I have our Maloof joint laid out, and that's right off of the template. We have 2 lines here, which represent the sides of our Maloof joint. We're then gonna mark a center line right on the blank, and then we have our jig, which is gonna go over top, mount right on here. I'll go like that. And it's just gonna line up with that center line. We'll be able to clamp this on here and use a router to clean this all up. Now this is a fresh jig, never been used, so we'll be cutting out the plywood at the first time. This is done with an up spiral bit, brass bushing. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get our router out and get to work. So here we go, we got the Festool 1400 router, middle of the line size. It's pretty much my go-to router. I've used this forever. I've had it since 2012 and it runs like a top. I do love it. The ratcheting system's super nice to take the bit out. Just has some arrows on here, really sweet. That basically if you're gonna take the bit out, you hold it that way. If you're gonna put the bit in, you hold it that way. Pretty awesome. So let's go ahead. We're taking out this small, looks like about 1/8 of an inch up spiral. So that one is out, and it looks like we'll have to change the collet as well. We're going from a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch collet. So let's take that out. Collet is removed. New collet is right here, 1/2 inch. Get it on there. So we will be using a 1/2 inch up spiral or down spiral, works for you a bit. Probably a down spiral is ideal because it's pushing the fibers down. A little bit less of a tear out, although the tear out would not be a concern because of the way the Maloof joint is designed. So we have our up spiral bit. I don't know which one this is, up or down, who knows. Mount it in there and we're just gonna tighten her up. So this is where that ratchet, super nice. I like to kind of hold the router, and I do like to get it pretty tight in there. I hate it if it vibrates and loosens up a little bit. Now we're gonna be using a brass bushing, which I have right here. Super cheap, inexpensive set, brass bushings, Amazon. Actually, in fact, we'll throw an Amazon link in the description if you need to get the bushing set. And it's pretty awesome. They fit right into this plate that comes with the router from Festool. So literally, it like fits in perfectly. So I was super surprised by how well this fits in the Festool plate that comes with the router. And this is just a cheap brass bushing set. From behind, it's gonna have this threaded knurled thing on there. And look how nice this is. This just comes in here, and we're just gonna click it in. It's held there solid. Super easy to change. I just really like it. Now, so the router's set up. That's great. Head back to the assembly bench and let's get on with it. I gotta stop saying that. All right, we're getting on with it. This is the jig that we use. This is inspired by one of the master teachers that I had, Hal Taylor. This is gonna click onto our seat like so, and the brass bushing will ride on these shoulders, providing us an exact sized notch that we want to start off our Maloof joint. Super important. Very easy to set up too. We're just gonna have a center line on here that's gonna match up with a center line. But you can see here, I actually have no notch here. This is gonna create a notch that is about 1 inch deep by about 2 inches wide. So I'm gonna put this on here now, and and we're gonna clean that out with the router. Now on the seat, we don't need to be removing all that material with the router. We're gonna then place this on our seat, trace out that notch, and we're gonna remove most of this material with the bandsaw with a bunch of kerf cuts and break it away. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Sebastian's gonna get some sweet shots. Sawdust flying. So this being a fresh jig, I got it bolted on, not bolted on, I got it clamped on where I need it, just with some quick clamps. And we have our depth set to 1 inch. Now I'm just gonna lightly make some marks on the jig with the router. Then I'm gonna go to the bandsaw, cut away most of that wood, staying away just from the edge. Then I'll use the router itself to clean that edge up. So we're gonna do that now. If only I had a chair to sit on while I was doing this. Whoa! Let's see if this will work. Oh, what back support too. You gotta have back support while you're routing, people, come on. Actually, I don't really wanna do any work now, I just wanna hang out. So only the first time that you make your plywood template will you actually have to router through all the plywood. But as you can see, hello, we now have the notch that we wanna create. And this is a simple jig, yet very accurate and very awesome to then make this notch in the seat. But we don't need to route away all this wood. We're going to take our template now, put it back where I want it. I should have a center line drawn on there. Of course I don't, because I just cut that. I'll just put a little tick on here actually. So I got a center line on there. I'm able to then line it up to the center line here, and we can just trace this shape like this. And I'm gonna repeat that for the other 2 joints, and then we're gonna go to the bandsaw. Cool, so with that jig, I just quickly marked out where our notch is gonna be. I'm gonna come in here with the bandsaw now and make a series of cuts, staying just off of that line. We're gonna break that material away. Then we're gonna use the router to clean that up. All right, so we have a bunch of kerf cuts made, and we stayed away from the lines about a 1/16 up to an 1/8 of an inch. I have a small little drawer here and chisel action. And now, super satisfying removal of wood. All right, the first one's done. Now, I like to make sure the router is fully stopped, the bit's not spinning, because you have a lot of bit sticking out. Because if you were to pull this up and it's running, very easy to nick the side of your jig. Once you've done that, your jig's toast. You want a perfectly flat, smooth edge so it transfers over. Look at how nice this does. Without any measuring, and really without any sweating, any hard work. And now we can repeat that again. Oh, this is with the grain too, it doesn't work as well. That's okay though. All right, that's it. That is the third starting of the Maloof joint. Next up, we have our nice perfectly square notch to the size that we want. We're gonna be using this rabbiting bit, 1/2 inch tall, 1/2 inch deep, with a 1/2 inch bearing. Very, very important you don't get a multi-bearing rabbiting bit. This one specifically is going to leave a 3/4 inch roundover in the corner. So the bearing is now going to ride on this notch. It's going to be spinning like this, so it's going to leave us a 3/4 roundover in this corner. We're going to come across, same thing, nice 3/4 roundover in that corner, and then we're going to come out. We're going to be doing that to both sides, and that's going to create our tongue that makes that Maloof joint super, super strong. We're going to do that, we'll do that at the shaper table now. All right, we have our rabbiting bit in the shaper table. The height isn't crucial. We just want to make sure a bit of this blade is below the table surface. So that's what I've done. We're going to hit our dust collection. We're going to open up our blast gate. We're going to make some sawdust. All right, so that's the seat side of the Maloof joint taken care of. Now this is a little bit different than a Maloof joint. I learned from Hal Taylor, who took the Maloof joint and kind of transformed it a bit. He changed to this 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch rabbiting bit. Typical Maloof bit is done with a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, so a much shallower shoulder and not near as deep. In this situation, we're going to be sinking the legs right in. Blends it super nicely all around the seat. That's kind of my little additional touch to this chair. So 3 joints cut, successful. Very simple too, no measuring. How nice is that? Let's get on with getting our legs fit into these now. All right, we're here over at the table saw. The blanks that we glued up earlier are a little bit wider than the Maloof joint themselves. They're actually 3 1/4 wide, where the Maloof joint's 3 inches. I do like maintaining this glue line right down the middle, so we are going to try and trim equal amounts from both sides, ending up at 3 inches in width. Let's have a look here, double check. Yeah, bang on 3 inches, and they're all going to be like that because of the use of that jig. One reason I love using it. So if that's the case, I'm 3 1/4. I'm going to set this to 3 1/8 right now. Remove it from the one side, and then I'll go to 3 inches, remove it from the other side. Okay, now for the crucial cut. We measured 3 inches, but you know what? I'm going to set it just a hair bit bigger. Then I'm going to see what the fit is like in the joint. Okay, so now when we glued these up, we're a little bit long on both ends, so they're not square. We're going to trim just the one side. The bottom's not needed because that's going to be bandsawn. So just the top side of your joint. And it's going to be the prettiest glue lines that you have, preferably matched nicely. All right, templates traced on there. Like I said, bonehead move by my part. I didn't make my blank big enough, but you can see I've tilted my template on there. So there's my flat face, and I just take a steel ruler and I draw a long, continue that line. So I'm gonna go there, trim very close with the bandsaw. Then we're just gonna edge sand that. Then from there, I'll be able to have this on the sled on that angle and cut my dado joint for the Maloof. The Maloof joint. So let's get to the bandsaw now, eh, Sebastian? Oh, yeah. All of you two, let's go. So we're done at the bandsaw. As you can see here, we cut very close to the line, but we did leave just a little bit of meat there. We're gonna clean this up at the edge sander now. Let's get to it. All right, so on our template, we have the very top of the dado marked. I just have a little tick that I transposed over from the template. I like to use a shoulder square, and now we can just continue that line around onto the face, down the side like so, and then we can also continue it to here. You want to get it just so it has that little bit of the pen lines up. It's fantastic. So now what do we have to do? We have our thickness of this tongue, and I just take a caliper, close it on there. I don't have it turned on. I don't actually care about the measurement itself. We're also going to sneak up on this measurement once we get there. I take this from that line down. I just make a little dot like so. Take our shoulder square, and we can now trace that line. So that's going to be the bottom, and we'll be doing our dado right where these X's are. All right, we're all traced on. We have our dado joint for all 3 legs. The bottom of the dado as well as the top of the dado is marked on all 3 sides. I really like putting X's. I'm very visual with where we need to remove that material. We're gonna go to the table saw now, put our dado blade in, use a sled and bang it out. So let's check it out. So we're here at the table saw. We're gonna cut some dados all marked out. 1/2 inch is our total height. I have it set with my fancy little depth gauge finder thingamajigger. Super handy, use it all the time. One of my first things I bought 10 years ago. I am gonna do a test block first. I don't care about the width of the dado. I'm only concentrating on the depth of it right now. So let's go ahead. Dado, go try it out in our seat. Should have brought the seat over. So let's have a look here. So I'm tight on the shoulders, but I do actually have a little gap between the tongue and the dado. So I'm a little bit high on the dado. So I'm gonna go back there, lower the blade ever so slightly and recut. So we can see ever slight of a gap. Looks like I could go down just a little bit more. I do want a small little gap there. Okay, so now I'm actually a little bit too low because I can rock on it. I got a little room there, so my bad. Okay, we're tasty now. We're very good. Now the real thing. We got our dado marked out. I need to do my initial face. And I have to ensure that I'm holding this on my sled here. So I have a 0 clearance sled, so this edge is gonna be exactly where my blade's gonna cut. So I'm very easily, I can line my pen up to there. So I do cut just shy of my line. I'm gonna go over to the seat now and actually see what it fits like. Yeah, you just wanna be careful because this is all more the fine fitting. So we're a little bit fat, which is what we want. I can visually confirm that, yes, I need to pretty much go to that line. So let's do that now. Now we're talking. Good.
So cool.
Kind of cool, eh? So now in theory, I should be able to fit this on here. See that? Nice. You can fit this on here. It's great. And it should, in theory, fit nicely if I could operate this thing. See, it goes right in there, see? So now we can round over our inside corner, 3/4 inch round over. We got 2 other joints to cut too though. I'm gonna bang them out. All right, we're here at the router table or shaper table, whatever you'd like to call this guy, little baby shaper. We have our dado cut, all 3 sides. We need to do a 3/4 round over on this inside corner as well as this inside corner. We do want to be fairly precise with this round over. It's going to match up with the 3/4 round over in the seat. So here we have it in the shaper tool. And this is one time where a lot of the time I'm just using a straight edge ruler to set my heights, but I like to use this one-way gauge, and we're gonna set this to 0, basically right around that vicinity there, and we can actually bring this over and just set it on the blade, very tip of it, and now I can just very easily bring it up to 0 like that. And then now we know we're gonna be matched with the height of our table. Let me just double check. Sometimes a little dust gets in there. We're talking like, this is super accurate, so try it again here. You can see I can very easily, oh, whoa, whoa, come back here, and touchdown. I'll lock that down there, double check it on the table. Oh yeah, I'm happy with that. Now we're gonna go ahead, crack open the blast gate, and get to it. Okay, so here we are, we're back at our seat. We have the dado cut on all three sides. We have our 3/4 roundover matched from the leg to the seat. And let's see here. Very nice. Leg number 3 now. Let's see, maybe I can do it with it kind of standing. Yes. Awesome. Super excited with that. We can see the profile that the leg's gonna have there. It's here. Cool. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna mark the seat top, seat bottom. That's just gonna give me some reference lines for when I'm trimming at the bandsaw. Then we're gonna head over to the bandsaw and cut some wood off and really start getting some shape, which is super, super exciting. All right, let's lose some of this weight. All right, everyone, we're well on our way now. Just bandsawed the shape of the seat. The maloof joint's all cut, fits beautifully. We just have a very little bit of wood here at the bottom of the leg. I'm gonna deal with that over at the edge sander. So let's take care of it. New paper time. We're gonna take off some more weight. I don't have a template for this. The way we do this here, we have a center glue line down at the bottom, and we're gonna measure the total width of the bottom. I can't even see my glue line. There it is. That is good glue up right there. So I'm gonna go 1.25 inches total. Cut time. So very important, Sebastian needs to remember to stop the time lapse to hear this audio.
It's not a time lapse.
Well, you might time lapse it. Check this out. We need to put this up to the joint face, like that, as we come out. That way our line is nice and parallel to our seat edge. And you can see I do stay lower than it. I'm gonna be grinding that away after the glue up. But now we have our nice shape. Sweet, eh? That hunk of wood turns into...
That's insane, dude.
So now we're just gonna be sanding off with the RO 150. All 4 faces, we're gonna clean up those bandsaw marks. Hey, what are you guys doing all the way over there? Come on over. I'll show you some sanding. So from the bandsaw, I like using the Festool RO 150. I have it in Rotax mode, or big dot mode I call it. It's very, very aggressive. I use their medium pad, typically starting at 120 grit. The key is that we want to remove all the lumps and bumps, and we want to be sanding evenly along, so it's very visual. Your bandsaw marks are your guide. If you're sanding and you're looking at it and you're all smooth along the top edge, you know you're going that way too much. Smooth along the bottom, same idea. And what you want to do is that when you see your smooth spots and you have bandsaw marks left, it's actually the smooth spots that get sanded down to the bandsaw marks. You're not trying to dig out those bandsaw marks. So you want to kind of use your sander like a hand plane. Stay on top of the high spots and bring them down to the low spots. Okay, all sides, all the bandsaw marks are sanded off. We're gonna head to the shaper table now. Got my donut jig in there so we can get as close as we can to this joint. And we have a 5/8 inch roundover bit. Let's make some sawdust. So here we are, we're back at the shaper table. This time we have a 5/8 of an inch roundover bit, and we have my donut jig. Check it out. What it allows is that because a lot of the parts I work on are curved, I'm able to hold this up here and get a little bit closer to all our joinery. So let's just get to it. What's up with all this talking? Super exciting time. We're all shaped at the shaper. Shaper does shapes. You can see I left the bottom here. We're going to be shaping that by hand later. It's actually nice to do with it attached to the stool. Let's let's get to it. We got a lot of glue surface with these Maloof joints. I like putting a big dollop of glue. I got my silicone brush, gotta love this, from Titebond. And we want squeeze out. We want it everywhere. So get glue, get jiggy with your glue. Even that little dollop was not even near enough. Okay, one leg done. Leg number 2. Things getting crazy now. Woo! Okay, 3 legs glued. I like to cover this surface as well. Bunch of glue on there. I'm gonna have to bring it around a little bit. That's the triangle one. I do have them all marked. They're all fit to themselves. We have the circle one. Oh, I can't see what it was. Triangle, circle, square. Triangle, circle, square. Got it? I could probably just like get a pen and mark it down, but triangle, circle, square, that's what we gotta remember. All right, looking good here on the glue front. Triangle, circle, it's actually an X. Triangle, circle, X. That'll help. Okay, almost there. All right, it's exciting. Made one mistake, everyone. I got a little bit more to trim at the bandsaw. See that? Let's do it.
No way. Using that, man.
Just be annoying to trim away after. Thank you. Thank you. All right, all right, all right. Triangle. Circle. These are perfect how these joints are too. See how we got, we got to hit them in, but they're not like insane to get in. That's what you want. And now number X.
Number X.
Oh, letter X. Cool, we can pop this down now. It's officially a stool sample.
Crazy.
Thought you might like that one. Looks like I can just get on here with this clamp. Woo! Get the clamps on the underside. Looking good though, eh?
Yeah.
You can see the shape to it, looks really nice. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're looking great. This is good. If you follow along, you know how this is. I run around during a glue up. Because for some reason I never take my clamps out. Oh, we're just having a little fun here, I think. Just trying to get pressure on the underside of the joint as well as the top side. And it's looking terrific. Huh? What's going on?
Believe in you can achieve.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Always salt your pasta before boiling it.
Oh. So I go up to the bullpen, pull in another one. It's also no. Come on! What did I always say about a dry clamp? It's always good to do.
Move it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem is it's just hitting that clamp there and I'm trying to get it like... Okay. Oh, I had it. Okay, I got it. You got it?
Yep.
Thanks for the helping hand. Yeah, you've used the bandsaw today and now you're clamping.
Yeah, crazy. I'm a woodworker.
You almost made this whole project. Okay, that's it. I'm super happy with that. We got pressure on all our joints, top and bottom. And this is pretty sweet. See how flat it's sitting?
Wow.
On the assembly bench?
Yeah.
Always a good sign. It's fantastic. So, we're gonna let this glue dry, and then we're gonna be sculpting and sanding this piece.
Should only take a couple seconds, just like a snap of a finger.
Whoa. Check it out, we're all glued up. Glue is cured and we're ready to start sculpting this stool. We have a lot of meat on top, we have a little meat here, we got a lot to do on the seat. Step one I'm gonna do is bring down the tops of these legs flush with the seat. What are we gonna use? Angle grinder. You can pretty much use any one. I do enjoy this brushless battery powered DeWalt. It's a 20 volt. It's done with the paddle too, which is really nice. Now what are we using attached to it? A Kutzall carving wheel. This is the original coating. It's a flat wheel. This is the very coarse wheel. So this is the most aggressive version they have of their original coating. I like the flat wheel, not the dish wheel. The dish wheel is much rounded, where the flat wheel has this flat spot that you can register a lot more of the wheel, so you can do this job without creating so many lumps and bumps. Got my eye protection, got my dust protection, half a cup of coffee. Gonna make some sawdust now.
Right.
All right, there we go. We just cleaned up the tops of the legs to the top of the seat. Now, if you've never power carved before, this is a good little teaser to get you to understand what the wheel's gonna do with what pressure. And it's very key that the flat spot on this wheel, you can see how it's kind of got that camber. I'm really using that flat spot when I'm doing the grinding. And if you noticed in the video, I don't kind of grind down one spot all the way. I work the entire surface down evenly as I get close to it. It's just, I find it a lot easier that way. Next up, we're going to start carving the seat. So there's actually going to be a curve that comes from leg to leg. So if I just draw kind of a line here, there's gonna be a curve like this from leg to leg, like that way. It's gonna have the exact same kind of thing where it's like, this is here like this, so this is gonna come down and curve. This is gonna come down and curve. And exact same thing here. These are kind of just reference lines. I'm just leaving a little, about a 1/4 inch or so, 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. And that's what we're after. And we're gonna want nice fair curves. Now you can also see my leg is sticking out past the seat. That's because I wanna actually have this shaped along with the seat. We don't want the seat being a nice curve and then we have a flat edge and then a curve again. We wanna have that curve flowing right through, which is why we left that leg bumped out a little bit. Let's get to it, let's make some more sawdust. We're rolling. All right, we made a bunch of sawdust. Nice breeze running through right now. So Sebastian got the brunt of it down there. He had his mask on. We've been filming and editing in unison, but who cares about that? Here she is, check it out. I like to get a nice curve going from this way, between this leg to that leg, between this leg to that leg. And then we also get a nice curve from this leg to that leg. And then you kind of gotta blend those two at that vicinity there. I've also blended in the side of these legs. I'm very close to getting rid of my dado joint. So I'm gonna touch up with sanding from there. You're still gonna be shaping with the RO 150. We're gonna start at about 120 grit. So nice little fair curve, and I ran this edge ever so slightly. And then on the underside, I've just cleaned up 80% of the way with the angle grinder at each of these joints. I've given it just a slight round over here at the edge, slight round over there. I like to maintain my flat edge because that's going to be my reference right now. If I get rid of that right now, I don't really know what I'm doing past carving. So I like to have a little bit of a flat edge left and then deal with it with the sander. You can kind of see it all the way around here. As I said, we're still going to be shaping with that Festool sander. So now, just before the sander, I'm going to be using this rotary rasp in this die grinder. Very inexpensive, can work with a small air compressor. Literally pretty much never wears out. And this is the super awesome tool that is going to clean up this little radius transition that we have going on down here. I can give you some sound effects right now. Pew, pew, pew. That's basically how it goes. Before I get going with my pew, 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 I've also shaved down the ends of the legs. That's where we left a little extra meat. And that's where the flat side of this oval really helps out. Of this oval. It's clearly round. The flat side of this disc, we just stay registered on there. We can blend it from the 5/8 up to pretty much nothing, and then from there we'll be sanding it to get the shape. Let's do it. Not a very aggressive tool. You can't take off tons and tons of material out of it or you'll be here for hours. So you want to use that angle grinder, get 80%, 90% of the way. But if we look down here, we can see how nicely this can clean up this transition into the seat. So when it comes to sanding, we're basically just using the sander as an eraser to erase all our grinding marks. At this point, we want to be able to feel this joint nice and smooth without lumps and bumps. It's going to make your sanding much, much easier, much, much rewarding because it's not going to take you weeks. It'll just take you days. So I'm gonna blend in the rest of the joints now, and then we're gonna get on with the sanding. Okay, that's it. That's the power sculpting. Not so bad. Blended in the very ends of our legs. We blended in the tops of our legs to the underside of our seat. We have a small radius that goes down to the seat. From there, we'll be sanding it. We also did a slight round over on the remaining edge on the bottom side of the seat. That way it's nice and soft when you go and grab it. And of course, the top side. Let's have a look here. Again, nice fair curve from leg to leg this way, leg to leg that way, and then it kind of like bends down. Really yields to a very nice stool that you can kind of sit on any direction. You can sit on it like this, jam away. You can see why we call it the guitar stool or the pick stool, because it's very good for playing an instrument, because obviously it's got no arms, and super comfortable. So when you're jamming out for hours at the campfire, you're still comfy. Oh, my back feels so good. But we're gonna get to the sanding. Everyone loves sanding, right? I actually enjoy sanding because, especially with the sculpted furniture, you can see how adding the curves of the sculpting really plays with the grain lines. I do love that, but they're kind of hidden because of deep grinder marks. Now we're gonna be revealing that grain with the sander. We have a Festool RO150. I've used these for years. I started using this back in 2012. I still have my original sander and I love it. Super aggressive. It has two modes. It has the Rotax mode and it has the Oscillate mode. We're gonna be doing all this initial sanding with a medium pad in Rotax mode, and sometimes on the slowest speed all the way up to the maximum speed, whatever you feel comfortable with. We're gonna start with probably 150 grit on this, then we're gonna progress through and get it up to a shine. So let's get to it now. Get my sand on. All right. All right, so you can see how aggressive the RO150, right from the grinder mark to practically beautifully sanded surface. I'll have about 3 hours into the stool in total. We just wanted to give you a taste into the sanding. Check out how beautiful this Maloof joint looks.
Oh, wow.
I love the contrast, and this is why I like ripping it from two pieces, because you get that grain match on the top.
Oh my gosh.
So, 2 hours later.
2 hours later.
All right, that's it. We are done the sanding. Super excited. I do want to show you what I finish off with. Check this out. This is now the Festool RO125, which is a 5-inch sander. We're using their interface pad, which is a thick foam pad. And then on top of that, we're using the Platen 2 paper. Now you can see the paper, it's more like foam paper. There's no like standalone grits on there. So you will not get any of those swirly marks. And because it's foam and the interface pad, we have a lot of cushion to it. So it's gonna bend up into our transitions and really finish off all those nice curves. If you have any facets left from the 6-inch sander and the harder pads, this is gonna deal with that. So as you can see all the way around, we're nicely fully finished, and this is a very good example here. I'll even turn it on here. How it bends up into those transitions. So I've worked my butt off. We got her fully done. I'm super happy with it. You really want to look closely, see if you see any of those grinder marks, see anything, touch that area up, go back to that. So we brought her up to 500, and I got one other little trickety trick that I do just before finish. So bear with us. We have a bear skin. No, I'm actually kidding. This is sheep's wool, I think. It's from Festool. When I started with this style of Sam Maloof furniture, I remember reading his book, and he would talk about applying the finish in a way that he would actually like warm the wood up. He was burnishing the wood while he applied it with a towel. Now, I just happened to see this in the Festool magazine. I thought, why not burnish with a machine before the finish? I also find this really pulls the dust out of the pores, opens them up, gets them ready for finish. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna give it a quick little blow off, and we're gonna be applying the finish. Ooh, exciting. All right, we polished her up with a wool pad. We did blow it off with an air gun, get the remaining sawdust out of it, and it is beautiful. So let's get to finishing. Here it is. We're using 1 coat of Odie's oil, super penetrating oil, SPO. Now the trick with this finish is that you want to apply a very little bit, buff it in, put a little bit more, buff it in. You don't want to be pouring a big dollop of it on this. This is designed to penetrate into the wood, not stay on top of it, and then we'll be finishing it up with the Odie's Oil Universal after about 24 hours. So like I said, a very little bit, you kind of put it on there, you can even scrape it back a bit, and we're just going to be buffing this on, and it goes a very, very long way.
That smells really good.
This is 100% natural, no chemicals in it, completely food safe. Using now, I used to do the Maloof style finish. Tung oil, polyurethane. All right, all done. Got her all wiped off. Turned out just spectacular. Oh. So that's it. This is the end of the 100th Woodworking Life vlog. Pretty incredible. And you know what? Here's the big announcement. We're going to be giving away this stool to hopefully one of you lucky viewers or one of our Instagram followers. The first way to enter is that you need to share this video to your Facebook and make sure to tag Canadian Woodworks in the copy below to make sure you get entered into the draw to win this beautiful stool. Throughout the next 2 weeks, we will have multiple ways to enter to win this stool. It'll either be here on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed and you have that notification bell turned on. And on Instagram, my Canadian Woodworks feed, again, make sure you're following along. Hopefully you have the notifications turned on over there too. We're going to be releasing a bunch of different ways to get entered into the draw to win this guitar pick stool. Super happy with how this turned out. Thank you very much everyone for following along. I hope you liked the build. We apologize for not having a vlog the past 2 evenings. Paul's very busy running his business and Paul was very busy creating this stool as well. It's a work of art. I truly think it's a functional piece of art. So I hope whoever wins this is going to truly enjoy this little guitar pick stool. So again, I appreciate you following along. Smash that like button, comment below, and don't forget to share this video to your Facebook feed for your first entry chance entry into the draw to win this stool. Everyone, make it a great one.